Yeah. I know you got problems, know you at the bottom, know you took a loss today. Everybody want bottles, living for a throttle, you just want bottle today. Tell me joy, where it's hiding, I've been trying to find it before I go all the way. Cause everybody got problems, everybody starving, but don't you go off today. Yeah.
Welcome. This is the Done Podcast. I'm Mike. This handsome fellow over there is my boy Tracy. How you doing, Tracy?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, brother. As good as we can be still. Obviously quarantined, living that type of life. So just living maintaining. Got a great topic today. We're talking about that brother in Georgia who was jogging and was murdered by these two white supremacists, brother Ahmaud Arbery.
The lead investigator in the death of Ahmaud Arbery took the stand in Thursday's preliminary hearing. Between 911 logs, home surveillance video, witness statements, and cell phone video from one of the defendants, he says his team with the GBI was able to piece together what happened to the 25-year-old that day. Surveillance video from across the street obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution shows the house under construction. Around 1:04 in the afternoon, you see Ahmaud Arbery go into the house. Motion-sensitive cameras inside the house capture Arbery wandering around, walk out, and then go behind the home. In the video around 1:08, you see a neighbor walk in front of 219 Satilla and call police.
There's a guy in the house right now. It's a house under construction.
And you said someone's breaking into it right now?
No, it's all open. It's under construction.
30 seconds into the call, he tells the dispatcher Arbery is now running down the street.
And he's running right now. There he goes right now.
Okay, what is he doing?
He's running down the street.
The lead investigator on the case said further down Satilla Road, Greg McMichael was standing in his yard when he says Ahmaud Arbery ran past their home. According to police reports, McMichael said he and his son got their guns, got in their truck, and drove down Satilla Drive toward Burford Drive to pursue Arbery. When they reached the intersection of homes in Satilla Drive, the senior McMichael says they saw Arbery running down a street called Burford Drive. According to the lead investigator, the McMichaels catch up with Arbery and yell for him to stop. The other suspect in the case, Roddy Bryan, is outside his house at 307 Burford Road at this point, when Arbery and a truck he recognizes from the neighborhood passes his home on Burford.
So then he yells, "You got him." He doesn't get a response. Mr. Bryan, according to his statement, then goes into his residence, gets the keys to his truck, comes out and cranks up his truck with the intention of assisting in the pursuit.
At this point, investigators say Greg McMichael got out of his truck to confront Arbery. Arbery is running back towards Satilla, which would lead him right out of the neighborhood.
So according to Greg McMichael and Travis McMichael's statement, Greg McMichael comes back to Travis McMichael's truck and tells him, go back, back up, trying to encourage Travis McMichael to back the vehicle up and engage Mr. Arbery.
It's at this point Roddy Bryan pulls out of his driveway onto the road to block Ahmaud Arbery. Investigators say Arbery is able to go around the truck. It's also at this point that Greg McMichael goes back to the truck, gets into the bed of it, and Travis McMichael drive up Burford to Zellwood Drive. The lead investigators say they had the intention to loop around and catch back up with Arbery at the intersection of Holmes and Satilla. GBI investigators say at this point, Bryan admitted to trying to block Arbery several more times with his truck. Investigators say they also found evidence that at some point, Bryan hit Arbery with his truck.
At this point, Mr. Arbery is heading back the way he's come, which would lead him out of the Satilla Shores neighborhood. Mr. Bryan makes statements that he continues to try to block in Mr. Arbery. Mr. Arbery takes a right turn onto Holmes Road, and Mr. Bryan is actually overshoots him going Satilla.
Investigator Dial testified that Bryan remaneuvered his truck to follow Arbery down Holmes Road. But at some point, Arbery stopped. Dial says Arbery saw the McMichaels truck turn off of Zellwood Drive onto Holmes Road and drive towards him.
So you've got one vehicle coming one way down Holmes Road and another vehicle coming another way, and Mr. Arbery is in between them. So at some point, Mr. Arbery turns around and starts heading back towards Mr. Bryan.
According to Dial, Bryan made statements that Arbery turned around and ran past his truck, and then the McMichaels truck passed him, all going back towards Satilla Drive. At some point, the McMichaels got in front of Ahmaud Arbery, and Bryan turned his truck around too. It's at this point, investigator Dowell says Roddy Bryan picked up his phone that had already been recording off of his seat and points it at the McMichael's truck. It's also at this point that Greg McMichael calls 911 for the first time.
The driver's side door is open. Travis McMichael is there. It is apparent to me he is holding a firearm. His arm is raised as it's in a pointed position at one point. Then Mr. Arbery is running. He then apparently sees what Travis McMichael in front of him. Then he changes direction to go around the passenger side of the vehicle. Travis McMichael then moved from the driver's side, where he's actually standing. When you open a driver's side door, the door is at his back initially in the video, and he's got the shotgun. He then positions himself around the driver's side door towards the front of the truck. You see Mr. Arbery running alongside the passenger side. And again, you see Travis McMichael has repositioned himself on the front of the truck. Mr. Arbery then comes up to a position, sees Travis McMichael, then makes a decision and turns and decides to engage Travis McMichael. As he turns and goes towards Travis McMichael, you hear a shot. Then you see Travis McMichael moving backwards with Mr. Arbery. Obviously, they were engaged in a physical confrontation at this point. They go off the screen. You then hear a second shot where you see blood and spray into the screen, a mist of it. Then they come back in to the view of the camera. There, Mr. Arbery is striking Travis McMichael. There's a struggle going on, and then you see a third shot occur.
Months later in May, Roddy Bryan told police he heard Travis McMichael say something as Ahmaud Arbery laid on the ground, bleeding out.
After the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Arbery was on the ground, that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement.
Kelly Wiley, Channel 4, the local station.
But today we got a special guest on the show, my guy Rashawn. We'll bring him in now. Yo, Rod, welcome to the All Done Podcast, baby. What's good with you?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate being here with you fellas, man.
Slow,
Good, my brother.
slow. So
What's
today,
up, brother? How's everything?
Everything's well. Everything's as well as it can be.
Good, beloved, good.
So today we was talking about the brother Ahmaud Arbery. As many of you know, the brother was shot down, murdered by these two white supremacists in Georgia back in February. So a lot of interesting things surrounding this case. So let's just kick it off, man. What are we thinking? Just another murder, senseless death, black man? Where we want to start with this? I mean, obviously it's complex and it's intricate, but it definitely seems like the same old song.
I was gonna start off with the simple as America as usual. Same song and dance. This is America. Whatever concept you want to go with, this is America. Same song and dance. It's sad. It's sad.
You know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's history repeats itself. You know, like you brothers are saying, and it's sad that, you know, every time a black man, whether it be young or older, is gunned down, they try to bring up a criminal history, or, you know, just something to show, oh, this is why. And it's sad, but when I look at these facts, it just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of it doesn't make sense, you know. And
For sure. Let's start there. Let's start with the facts. So they said this brother was jogging in his neighborhood. If you listen to some of the accounts of the eyewitnesses, his family, the brother wanted to stay fit, love football. So you hear some of these things, and the story pretty much goes, and I'll agree, Rise, is very strange. This brother's jogging, and then all of a sudden these two gentlemen roll up, these two white supremacists roll up on him, and they gun him down, talking about he was trying to commit some sort of robbery, which that's the part where I really want to start, because it really seems like all they have to say is that we was doing this or we were doing that. And it really seems to kind of be a recurring theme when you start to get into these cases more and more. And the second kicker is, right, this happened in the end of February, right? So the fact that these dudes are not imprisoned and people kind of bought that BS story, it's it's deflating. It really is, and I can understand, people being very upset. I mean, if you look at social media today, it was an outcry from people from LeBron James all over the spectrum of the individuals a lot of us look up to, and it was. I can't even say at this point it's good to see the community back and stuff like this. It would be better for stuff like this not to be happening.
Absolutely.
Have to back it, and that's the crazy part. But I know a lot of people don't know what happened. So you got that ready, or?
Oh yeah, let's cue that up. We do got it queued up. Just a quick video from NBC of the incident. Quick share it with you guys here.
Crazy.
Peep the allegedly though.
You see that, right?
We'll get into it. They thought.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot confirm who took the video.
That's what I was just writing down.
Hey, that's another. But who recording this?
That's exactly what I said. Oh, that's my first question. Who is behind it? Because it wasn't a police officer. They're letting you know it was a cell phone recording.
Absolutely, yeah.
So who was following him when these two white supremacists were already up ahead, diagonally parked in the road?
I'm gonna call it what it is. They had a lynch mob, and they could say what they want. They could call me what they want. It was a lynch mob because ain't no way it just happened to be somebody riding and recording what they. They said we about to go get this nigga.
Right.
That's what and they did.
They came 2 cars deep, not one.
And that's what it seems like.
They got a lynch mob together and they went and got him.
The way they tried to tell the story was, there was a house under renovations, and they saw him in front of it, so they made a phone call saying that there were robberies going down in the neighborhood. So the father and son took it upon themselves to hop inside the SUV with a shotgun and a pistol. But as we're sitting here, we're talking about this. I'm agreeing with this lynch mob idea because there had to be another group in the other car to going down. And what direction was this going?
Yeah.
Before he even got up there.
It just keeps happening, and the same narrative keeps going. Like you said before, they keep wanting to bring criminal past into it. The man was wearing gym shorts and a T-shirt.
White T-shirt, yep. No bag.
Huh? No bag, nothing.
No weapon at all. No weapon at all.
Bag. Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And I had to shoot him?
Yeah.
And I mean, the media, you see, right, those buzzwords, allegedly, they thought, like, it always seems, and the media is not innocent, right? Because when you put words like allegedly in that headline, when we all just clearly seen what happened, that's disingenuous. You're defrauding the public of the truth. And I really want to get y'all fellas takes on what is the media responsibility here, because that's NBC. That's from NBC. That's a reputable news source. Millions upon millions of people live by those words of NBC, and they can't even take the stand and say, "Yo, that's murder." I just watched. Right. What are you gonna tell me in a week, 2 weeks, a month that's gonna change what I just witnessed?
Right. There are places to broadcast the news right and exact for who they want it to be displayed to. And at the end of the day, there's a bigger agenda that's going on here. And, as long as these powers at large, it's never going to be portrayed as what it is. It's going to be what they want it to be. And, it's clear as day that this man tried to avoid the truck. He ran to the right side of the vehicle first. They stopped him. He came around to the left side of the vehicle where Travis was sitting there with a shotgun. So this man took 2 shotgun shots, at point blank range, fighting for his life. Literally fighting for his life. Good, brother.
My question is always, and I'm gonna get to your question in a second, Tracy. But my question is, why do everybody need to take it upon themselves to be superheroes? And that's what keeps happening. They keep saying they was in the community doing such and such and such. What happened to the simple dial 911? And really, honestly, if you're one of us, them dial 911 is not a better option.
Right.
They do too. So,
Right.
but now to answer your question, the responsibility of the media, it's their job to report the news as is. But I will say this, as like playing devil advocate, they got to avoid being sued too, because it's a business, so they have to put the allegedly word in there. And now the rest of it, the bringing up his criminal past, stuff like that, they don't have to do that. And I don't know why that's always done. I'm pretty sure some on legislation where they can't bring up their criminal history because it really taints the jury pool. Like when they're going to select jurors for the case, it messes it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's frustrating. Yeah.
They said the young brother had a criminal history of shoplifting. So we're gonna take shoplifting and we're gonna up the charge and say, yeah, this man's a home invader now of a property that's obviously being built. So there's probably nothing in there.
All right. Even with that being said, let's say that's true. Let's say it's true he's a shoplifter. How would the lynch mob in advance? They don't. They just know it's a black guy running, and let's get him.
Right.
And I think that's the deeper problem, right? We're not talking about. There's no excuse, and I don't even like getting into the narrative of why, because we know why. We know why, right? That brother don't have the complexion for protection. When's the last time you heard of a white jogger just being gunned down, and what to me looks like hunted, like he's a wild animal? And so that's simply not happening. There's black people, Spanish people, nobody's out here just hunting white Americans, gunning them down and then changing the narrative or speaking some nefarious facts to the media. And the fact that all they had to say was that robbery nonsense and then they beat it. This happened in February.
Literally.
COVID pandemic aside, that's unacceptable. For us to be now, they talk 2 DAs have resigned from the case, and now they talk about the father of the shooter used to be working with law enforcement. It's just too many.
He's a former investigator for Brentwood County.
It just don't add up, brother. It don't add up. And I know y'all brothers have something to speak about that. But I mean, like I said, same old dog and pony show. And it don't add up, and we ain't cool with it.
Same song and dance. So that brings me to something I was thinking about. At what point do we just say, who cares how it turned out? And what I mean by that, start arming yourselves. Make sure you're protecting yourself. Because at this point, I'd rather be the one to tell my story. I might have to tell my story from behind bars, but I'm going to tell my story. They not going to bring up their own narrative to my story.
That's deep.
And we got to get to that point. And we, and like you said, we don't have the complexion for protection. So when we are armed, it's an extra hassle, and we're gonna have to go through that hassle. But protect yourselves and do it legally. So when you do get hassled, they run whatever they want to run, serial numbers and things like that, and it comes back clean. But be ready to protect yourself. If it's something that's simple, it don't have to be a gun. It could be something so much pepper spray. Start protecting yourselves, and that's and like I said, I hate this keeps happening, but at some point, I think it was, I forgot what post I seen, but it said, we're all one bullet away from being that person, right?
Hashtag, man.
You know what? So are they.
Right.
We all one bullet away, but so are they. They're not bulletproof, and then when we start shooting back, they're gonna start minding their business.
Right. Do we know any history of Brunswick, Georgia? Like, what type of community is that?
I mean, it's in the South, so I mean, we could talk about it, but that's a long history of racism and.
I mean, there's 3.
It's
where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's just southern states aren't quite as caught up as some of the northern parts, and that's definitely not to give the northern parts a pass, because I definitely don't want to do that. But definitely finish your thought, brother. Where was you going with that one?
So the story is that he's been running that route for years, and he usually runs with another brother that I guess just wasn't with him that day, and to be just working out and to be subjected to racial profile. I'm really trying to wonder what type of community. You have predominantly black parts of Georgia, then you have like that straight redneck European Georgia. You know what I mean? So that's why I asked that question. I Brunswick off the top of my head too much. I was just trying to get a feel for where the brother was at, where he was being raised at.
I'm gonna say it's the same as every other place in this world. And I don't like to see, these are the type of conversation that I love to have, but I don't like those types of context in it. Because the reality should be, I don't give a damn if he's in Brunswick, Georgia, Jersey, Mississippi. It doesn't matter. But black people do have the standard where we know, hey, certain places you can go, certain places you kind of can't. And what does that sound like?
Crazy.
Jim Crow. That's some Jim Crow shit. That's some fun downtowns. Don't let that light beat you home.
Yeah.
And that's my point. That's still unacceptable. And so I'm definitely, and that's definitely a great segue, Fat Boy, Mike, my guy. We was talking about arming yourselves. What do we think about the marching that was done this past week?
Once again, and I know a lot of people just don't know, but we've been marching since the civil rights movement.
Literally. And
it's not happening. Like, it's just not happening. See, and the things, when they march with a purpose. They march with the fact that, with the idea of, we're going to boycott, we're going to hurt their pockets. But now we just walking the bottom of our shoes out. Walking the bottom of, what are we marching for? To tell them we upset? They know we upset. They don't care. We've been upset. Upsetting, that's, okay, they mad, so what?
Moving nobody.
They treat us like children who got an attitude. Okay, you mad, so what?
You'll be back. Yeah.
And it becomes, so what we going to do about it? And like, the biggest thing, like, I know I said arm yourselves, but the biggest thing, start hurting pockets. Start boycotting certain areas and stop moving into certain neighborhoods and let them have it. But as you know, when we start building our own things, we thrive, and they get upset about that. History tells us that. Yeah. We build our own things up, and we have. I think it was you, Tracy, that told me we have like one of the. If we come together, we have the of like the third largest nation in the world.
Yeah, we up there. We are very impressive as an African American community. Very impressive.
Start hurting pockets. I'm telling you, if they don't speak nothing else, they speak money. And start hurting pockets, and then go from there.
I agree. How about you, Rock?
I feel like we have to, like Michael, like the brother Mike was saying, man, we got to start, boycotting these institutions that are putting money into their pockets, man. We have to start building ourselves financially, mentally, spiritually, and even in a malicious state of mind. We have to be prepared to fight. We have to be prepared to, if that means go without for a few, of certain things that the European may provide until, we can find a way to build that of our own. But the thing about it is, as soon as we get a little bit of money, what do? We go try to be amongst them. And we don't buy back our neighborhood. We leave our neighborhoods. And, that's a big issue right there. So I feel like, we got to start waking up, ourselves and building our communities. Once we build our communities, we police ourselves. This was a place where, it was predominantly black. I don't know. I don't think, if this is Brentwood, Long Island, let's say that, and, we're sitting here, we're literally buying these blocks back. It's not going to go down like that. We leave and we go into these European areas, and now we're literally subjected to those people around us who don't want us there. They don't want us there.
Clearly.
And that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
For me, I keep going back to this idea of keep things simple, right? The world is a simple place. It's not hard to understand the environment around you. Any color, creed, gender, sexuality is allowed to run any block in these United States. He was denied that right, constitutional right, and that's simple. So you can't plug another narrative in, because I ain't looking for a narrative. I'm looking for, was this man allowed to run the streets of his community? He was denied that right. That's simple justice. And the bad part about the whole situation is them brothers and sisters were marching and they're out there, and I salute them. I'm cool with you marching, but that can't be it. That can't be it. That's not enough, right? A lot of things y'all brothers are talking about need to follow that. And with that being said, going back to the constitutional rights that brother had, who respects Black people's constitutional rights? Because that's what we got to get into, right? Let's keep it simple, right? Malcolm X said, my idol, he said, make it plain. Let's make it plain. That brother wasn't committing a crime, had no intention to commit a crime, had no weapons, no negative motives in his body in those moments. And it looks like he was set up to be murdered. Now, the other piece, right, flip the script, right? We don't know who that other car was, right? We have our theories. I think as our community, we need to kind of watch the media. How they gonna spin that, right? Because right now, I think they don't know. As NBC News just said, we don't know who was filming the video. So we gotta be careful about the spins and the digs and the changing and switching of narratives as these people start to unfold this case in an effort to get them two dudes off from committing this crime. And I think we really got to stay focused on, hey man, an innocent Black man was murdered jogging. Period. There's nothing else. Let's stay on track. There's nothing else. But I will tell you this, and I would love to hear y'all brothers' feedback on this. And this is I think a very important point. 3 intelligent Black men sitting chopping it up about this. We need to talk about how it affects us. I'm affected when I see that brother gunned down with a shotgun, and I live in a white community, or I live in America. I'm affected. That messes with me traumatically when I start to see. I saw a Black man get murdered on film for jogging the streets. Really? And so when you start to have these conversations about, well, white people ask you things like, why can't you just get over it? I can't get over it, number one, because it keeps fucking happening. Number two, because that type of shit is traumatic in this skin. What y'all think?
And to answer your question, I'm affected by how unaffected so many people are. Like that it's the norm, that it keeps happening. And y'all got kids, I got Black nieces and nephews, and it just keeps happening. And why does it keep happening? Like, why can't we be safe? And like I said, and I keep going back to this, we at the point where marching is fine. There's nothing wrong with getting your voice out there. First of all, my one question is, where did they march? Did they march at the Capitol building?
Apparently to the assailant's home. Apparently.
They should have.
Allegedly, I should say.
They should have. Dumb people should. And if that's what you're gonna do, they should never sleep again. Not in that home. Not on that block. Because they marching, that's fine. Well, you know what? We're gonna be back at 12 o'clock. We're gonna be back tomorrow. We're gonna keep coming back.
I agree.
Like I said, and I'm affected by how so unaffected people are. And like, you become numb to it. And why? But why? Why is that something you become numb to? And it's crazy. And that's what affects me. That's so hurtful that it's so normal.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I go running myself, so, I feel like, that could have been me. That could have been anybody. When I run, I bring my son out, and would they have killed him too because they killed me? So it's something that, I personally feel. And today, while I was at work and, I was sharing it with a couple people, our people are not interested in this anymore. It's almost like, to piggyback what the brother Mike was saying, it's almost like a thing of, well, we expect this. What's different? You know what I mean? And it's almost becoming the norm because we don't fight. We're not, they fear us, but they don't fear us.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean?
They don't fear us. And that's what it is. They fear us, but they haven't felt nothing from it yet.
You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of this double thing that this double time that plays because you share it with other brothers and you have some brothers that almost try to justify, well, what did he do? Well, you know, like, oh, he swung first, or he did, like, what would you do if two white men stop you with a long shotgun? I'm gonna swing too. What else are you gonna do? You're just gonna sit there and what happened the last time a man got on his knees and put his hands up and said, "Don't shoot"?
That shot.
So
I mean, you can talk about many cases. I mean, there's nothing. I think the deeper point is, right, the next evolution in the conversation is, okay, so what do Black people do? Okay, that's great. I'm always solution based, and we like to be that here on the All Done Podcast. So what do Black people do? Key elements have already been laid out, right? We're talking about economic, financial, spiritual, militias, army yourself. We covered a lot of that stuff. But I think you have to, and the reason I asked the field question is Black people and white people, we can get into that, but Black people specifically, you gotta allow yourself to feel it. And I know it fucks with you. Because I'm Black and it fucks with me. So I'll be tomorrow in my work from home situation, I'm gonna think about that brother Ahmaud.
Absolutely.
And it's gonna be a little challenging to just send one more email, talk to one more client in those moments, because it could be me. I go to the store, and right. So what do Black people need to do? You gotta feel that. Don't run from that. And to piggyback off what Rod is saying, I totally believe that you're numb to it because what's the alternative? The alternative is feeling it, and that's, oh, hell no. I can't continue to feel this week in and week out, case by case by case, lynching by lynching by lynching. I'd go crazy. I guess my curse is I can't turn it off. It's no way you can see that video. I'm fucked up. Like, that's fucked up. It's wrong. I can't just go back to, I'm good, my family good, because maybe one day we won't be.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story about, and I don't know how funny, but I was at work one day and I asked a lady, and I forgot what the conversation was, but I randomly asked her, like, if I start a clothing brand or a business, would you support it? And her response, older Black woman, her response was, oh, I don't do Black stuff, right? Your face was my face. No, like I don't do Black stuff. I said, I don't even know what that. Like, I didn't even know what it meant. I didn't even know how to respond to it. I'm talking about clothes, and we're all like that. We're all not all, but a lot of us are like that. Like, oh, nah, that's not me. I'm not gonna do the pro-Black stuff. But so, unfortunately, we can't come out until we rid ourselves of those type of people. Like, you don't have to be on the front lines with an afro and a pick in your hand with your fist up, but you can do stuff. You can support. Like, there's a place here in Mississippi I refuse to move to because of the simple fact that their sheriff was fired because he did stuff specifically to keep Black people out. So that tells me they knew what was going on, because he's the sheriff for years. So they knew what was going on, but they didn't. Well, we good. He just happened to get caught by the wrong person. And it's just ridiculous. So, and you know what? That lady lives around that area. That I don't do that. I don't do Black stuff. Mm-hmm. Lives around that area.
And I know it's hard to be empathetic, but I know where that comes from. It's hard to be empathetic, but I know where that comes from.
Where does it come from, brother?
It comes from the legacies that have been left. And I know white people hate to hear that. Well, that was 400 years ago, and you don't feel none of that. I don't have to pay for that. But we do it we've done it for Chinese and internment camps. We do it for Native Americans. I mean, we know how to pay people off. And so I don't want Black people thinking that don't fall out this fight because you think it can't be won. There is plenty of examples of people overcoming this trauma financially, which elevates their community to overcome their traumas emotionally and in many other ways. And I don't think there's a problem with that, but don't drop out the fight and don't do that Black stuff because you're scared or because you done seen the brother Ahmaud get gunned down. That might turn anyone away from being on that Black stuff. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but we gotta set something for them to say, "Yo, I got you." So, and that's another thing we don't do. I got you. So, like we talk all the time, but like Tracy, Sean, y'all my brothers. So if y'all fight and something, they take something from y'all. Guess what? I got you. But we don't collectively as a community. We have that. I'm gonna get mine.
And I don't use the word community. More of a code, not community. We just need a code. Don't need a community. Community's cool, but a code is better.
And that's fine. But we need that. I got you. So if we got 100 brothers and sisters, that's all right. I'm fighting a fight, and one of us fall off. I got you.
On code, handle it on code. Absolutely.
But you know what the other thing is though. We sometimes are fearful to support this Black movement. Even with everything that's going on. I said to one of my friends, I said, not to change it at all, but I said, you see what the Chinese people are doing to us over in China. They're kicking us out of homes. They got us sleeping on the street. Mm-hmm. I said, would you still buy Chinese food right now? And I threw that as a setup question, right? I just wanted to see what his mental was. And that's not affecting me. Why would I stop eating something that I love because, they're kicking people out. I'm above that. I'm where people need to be. And I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, do you understand what I asked you? I'm telling you that these people are, as soon as Atlanta opened up, did you see the video of the European lady where, they were in there and she just happened to speak their language and they were talking so much junk about the Black people.
Mm-hmm,
got up and,
it was a problem, yeah.
It was a problem, right? So I said, it's not just happening in China. This is happening right here in America. That people do not like us, and we continue to go to their nail salon. We go to their Chinese restaurant. We don't stand up for ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves as a people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big problem right there.
No, absolutely, man. I think that's the point, along with what Mike was talking about and what you talking about community and coming together. And I think that's a pivotal point to make sure we understand what cats are saying when we say come together. You don't gotta like every Black person. That's not what I'm talking about. When I talk about, get a code, I could fucking I do hate certain Black people. I can't stand their ass. But in public, that's my brother. I'm supporting them. It's love. You're never gonna hear me degrade no Black man, Black woman publicly talking about they can't stop their bags, stop them from their family, stop them from elevating themselves and possibly elevating other Black people. That is unacceptable. That's cold. You don't gotta like them. It ain't. We all so caught up in being in this popularity contest in this social media era. Everybody wants to be on top of the social media chain, and you don't realize that, number one, that structure ain't owned by you, so have fun with that. Number two, that's not code. Code says, handle that business. That young man got gunned down unjustly. If justice cannot prevail from the systems that we have in place, the individuals on code in that community need to handle that business appropriately. And listen, everything that's understood don't need to be explained. And be clear, nobody's advocating violence. We're not talking about advocating violence, but you gotta defend yourself, right? You gotta understand the repercussions that come from a situation like this going unpunished. That is detrimental to us all, globally.
That's facts. I'm not advocating violence, but I'm advocating Darwinism, survival of the fittest. And right now, we're not fit to do it because we refuse. We want to turn the other cheek, and and I blame a few institutions on that. And I blame a lot of things on that. I blame one of my biggest things. I blame on that. I blame our church.
Get into it.
So much in our church tell us to turn the other cheek. We go to church so much, and our church tell us weeping comes for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Like I gotta weep until I die. Get my head.
That's next week's topic right there. Black churches. There it is. That's next week's topic. Black churches.
I like that.
But yeah, talk about it. What we got? So what do we think, Rob? Give me the on code thing. Give me the one thing that Black people need to do to be on code, man. A situation like this, no marching. Obviously, we get the economic stuff. But what's one thing black people really need to do outside the box? Like, yo, this is on code and this is not on code.
So one thing, like I said, one thing I mentioned before, like we talked about marching, that's fine. But you know what? Make sure that family doesn't sleep again. And you don't have to be physical. You don't have to hurt nobody. But you know what? Every time you go somewhere, we here. And that'll drive them crazy. But that'll send a message like, yo, if I do this, I'll never rest again.
Presence.
I'll never rest if I do something like this. So when we like they felt violated, so they quote unquote protected my community or my. So you know what? Now we got to start to feel violated. I feel violated, so you know what? I'm protecting my community. No, I'm not going up to you or burning your house. I'm not burning a cross on your yard. But you know what? You will never sleep again.
Right.
You're gonna have to keep moving. You're gonna have to go to protective custody, like your life is in danger, because you will never sleep again.
Right.
What movie was it? Like, lighten it up a little bit. Was it Bad Santa? When he asked him like a dozen, what he said, hundreds of these little out here.
Yeah.
Every time you move, it's gonna be 300 of us on your lawn. What's up?
Yeah.
Where you going? You're not gonna sleep again. You're not gonna feel safe.
We need to do also on top of that is I really feel like we need to start governing and police ourselves in our own communities, man. I said that a little bit earlier, but I'm gonna dig into it a little bit. I'm talking as far as, in the North, you need licenses to have pistols. So why are we not gathering these brothers that don't have the felonies, that don't have the criminal background, that can go get their pistol permits, that the people that may not even be able to get their pistol permits, but because they may have a weed misdemeanor, but they don't have a felony, so they can still go get that shotgun. Why are we not learning how to shoot together? Why are we not training how to fight, how to defend ourselves, how to defend our women? And really, it's stuff like that the Black Panthers used to do. They govern their communities. Is set up in all different places, and I feel like we got scared out of the fight.
I agree.
We got scared totally fight each other. Oh, you said, what about me, brother? I'm coming to your house right now, but we're not going to John Smith's porch like that.
But you're right, but I understand. 400 years of lynching, Jim Crow, redlining, segregation, police brutality. I mean, listen, the list goes on. All these years of those events, I get it, Negroes. I understand. I was that way. And the issue is we are working to a place, I believe now more than ever in history, where Black people are kind of, we're not afraid of death. Ain't nobody worried about dying. Because this is only one form of this being. That's on some spiritual enlightenment and evolution. This is only one form. You could cancel this form, but my spirit will remain, and I'm gonna come back as a bee or a wasp. I'm gonna sting this shit out. Something, right? Like this ain't it. It's not the final form. And so I have no fear of death, and that's why I have no fear of I'm gonna speak this piece, and I'll speak it to white folk. I speak it to Hispanic folk. It's not a crime to speak up for Black people, and Black people need to understand that and live in that space. I can say I want something for Black people and Black people alone, and that's not an indictment on any other race or ethnicity.
Yeah,
right.
To jump on to what like you said, we talk about economics and we talk about everything like that. We talk about building our own code. Now within that, we gotta understand this. Within that code, within supporting our own, within doing all that, there is still a system of accountability. So if I go to your establishment just because you're Black, guess what? I still expect you to have a certain standard.
Sure.
I still expect a certain standard of service.
Right.
Feel me? So when we police ourselves, there's still levels. There's still, you break in, there's punishment for that.
Right.
So I agree with policing ourselves. I agree with building our own economy, but we still have to hold ourselves to a certain level.
The homie discount theory.
The homie discount.
We can't have that. That has to go.
That has to go.
That has to go.
I swear, I've paid, like, I've had, because I support Black service, and everybody, well, you my boy, so I'm only gonna charge me what you're going to charge me. Not that I have it like that, but you're running a business.
Right.
Business is not going to grow if you everybody you know. I got. Once you establish that, we can work on that. I have my barber. He was cutting one of his friend's hair, and he was like, "Yo, my boy always paid me." He's like, even when I was first starting. So I was talking to his boy. I'm like, "You did that?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, because he's like, this is how he feeds his family. He's like, so what I look like not paying him, and this is how he feeds his family. Because if I do it, then 10 other people do it. That's money. He said, so with that, I'm gonna pay the brother. He's like, now once we both started cutting hair and getting money together, then yeah, we can look out for each other and cut each other's hair. He's like, but I'm not gonna not pay you because you're my boy. And we have to understand that. And we have to establish that.
Right. I also think just to dig a little bit more into that whole accountability thing, I feel like we are up to par when we play our codes correctly. When we do businesses and we're really trying to make it out here. I do see black people there. Listen, this is what it is. One thing I want to mention, I want to shout out to Brother Tracy. You actually taught me this. Remember we were speaking about your friend with the check cashing place.
Oh yeah.
And I said to you, but Tracy, why are you paying to get your check cash when you can just get direct deposit, and it might even be there a day sooner? And he said, it's about going to pay these couple bucks to this black-owned business. What does it take? A couple dollars away from me, but it puts money into their pocket, which helps the system. And when I heard that, I was just wowed at that moment, because, I was just like, man, that's real. That's support. That's love. We don't have generational wealth as well, right? So we're not building for the next future. We're building just to survive right now. And I think that, we need to really get together, and I'm really big on groups, man, because the more of us that are on one like mind and one accord, it will spread. I'm not trying to say we got to be the Black Panthers or anything like that, or those groups are still out here somewhere. They're just real low key. But at some point, the right time has to come out where we appear, and we're not scared to fight, and we're not scared to die, and we're not scared to get what is ours. Because this is ours. This is ours.
Right. So now that the All Done podcast is just about all done, let's just talk about real quick, what is the final takeaway from that brother Ahmaud Arbery, God rest his soul, to that brother, rest in paradise, to the good brother Ahmaud. What's the one thing you want to take away from the Ahmaud Arbery situation? Murder. Ahmaud Arbery murder. The one thing I'm going to take away is, and I would tell people, black people, feel that. You got to. You can't run from it because it ain't you. It is you. Or it could be you. But I would say I'm not trying to wait around until it is you. Let's build something so that it's not you or your child or your niece or your nephew, right? You got to feel that, black people. And I know that's uncomfortable, and you felt enough, and trauma after trauma, all that considered, you got to feel that. You can't look at that black man and be like, that ain't me, that ain't mine, because that's gotten us nowhere. Mike?
I'm going to say protect yourselves. I said what I said earlier, so when you watch this, you know what I said. Protect yourselves, and don't be scared to protect yourself.
Right.
Clearly, it keeps happening. At some point, we got to defend ourselves. So feel it and protect yourselves. Be ready to defend yourself. Like the brother Sean said, go to shooting ranges, learn how to shoot, learn martial arts, learn something. Protect yourselves. Because clearly they don't care. They protect themselves and they protect themselves and So I'll say this real quick, and then I'm gonna get off and let Rashawn speak. But if you go buy a gun magazine and watch and look at the pictures in the magazine. There's young white girls, there's white women, young white kids, and white.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
That's all it is.
Learn to protect yourselves. Learn to protect yourselves. Rashawn, what you got, bro?
Sure.
I'm going back to what I said earlier, man. buy your community back. Stop leaving your community to go live amongst the Europeans. We don't need to be like them. We're better. And I have to say it like that. You know, we are the feared race. And once we understand that, and once we understand that we have the power to put our own, we won't see stuff like this happening, because we'll leave the Europeans where they're at, and we're gonna see how we're living. But we have to appreciate. That's one thing that we as a people sometimes don't do. We don't appreciate what we got. You know, we're so used to, you know, just accepting that we don't appreciate. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that was the one thing I would take out of this, man, is we need to be in our own communities, buying our own stores, running in our own streets.
Bro, I feel you, baby. I feel you. Yo, Rashawn, appreciate you joining us, man. We definitely gonna have you back. It's a great conversation. R.I.P. to that brother Ahmaud Arbery, man. Rest in peace. Peace and respects to his family. Yo, Mike, I think that means this podcast is all done. Send us up.
This cell phone video captures the final moments of Ahmaud Arbery's life while he was jogging through this Brunswick, Georgia neighborhood in February. Arbery was confronted by Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, who shot Arbery twice with a shotgun before the 25-year-old collapsed and died. Arbery's mother, Wanda Jones.
Proves that my son was not committing a crime. He was out for his daily jog, and he was hunted down like an animal and killed.
Gregory McMichael was the only witness in the police report. He told investigators he thought Arbery was a burglary suspect and ordered him to stop. McMichael then said Arbery violently attacked his son, and the two fought over the shotgun before Travis shot him twice. At the time, no charges were filed.